Hi everybody, welcome to the Manifold channel. Today we're going to see how Manifold can do something in 8 or 9 seconds that takes other GIS software 8 or 9 hours. What we're going to do is a triangulation on 300,000 points. We're using Manifold Viewer, which is the free read-only edition of Manifold System Release 9. It's free to download. There's no strings attached. You don't have to register or anything like that. There's no adware. You can just download it and use it for free. Never times out. I'm going to open a project with Viewer. File, Open. And here's a 75 meg project with 300,000 points in it. Click Open, and the project opens instantly. Well, it should, because Manifold technology with map files is absolutely instant open. I'm going to double-click open the drawing as well. There, 300,000 points opened instantly. And I can pan and zoom however I like, and it'll work just as fast with 5 million points. We're keeping this at 300,000 because 300,000 is a realistic number of points for people to download as a shapefile, so you can try this in the GIS use at home. To do a triangulation, there's two ways of doing that. You can either use SQL, which has hundreds of functions in it, write SQL expressions with zillions of different functions, or you can just use pre-built templates. For example, here's the triangulation template. Let's click Triangulation All, and Manifold is so fast that it actually does a preview of what it'll do. That's a triangulation of 300,000 points. It's just a preview. It hasn't actually written out the triangles involved in the triangulation. It's a so-called Delaunay triangulation. But if you want to see how long it takes to actually do the triangulation, that is actually write those out in addition to computing the triangulation, we can click Add Component. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, click. It starts going. All 8 processor cores in this processor swing into action. 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 9 seconds. So depending on how much stuff we have going on in Windows and in the background, we can see exactly how long it took. It'll take it anywhere from 8 seconds, 8.1 to about 9 seconds. In this case, we have some stuff going on in the background. I have the resource monitor, a bunch of other things going on. I'm actually filming this with the software that records the screen. So it took not quite 9 seconds to do all this. Let's see what the result is. It created this new drawing, a new table right here, and we can drag and drop that into this display to see what the triangulation drawing looks like. And we'll click here on the component panel to see that's about 600,000 objects. Those are area objects like that are triangles. And all that was done in literally in under 9 seconds. Now, how do I know this takes 8 or 9 hours in other software? Well, I took this exact same data set and as a shapefile, and I imported it into QGIS. And I ran a Delaunay triangulation on it in QGIS using the latest version of QGIS, and it took over 8 hours. I don't know exactly how long it took because I started the process going in the morning, then I took off for lunch, and then I came back, and it still wasn't quite done. And so then when I left at the towards the end of the day, it was still running, and when I came back later, it was done. So I figure it was at least 8 hours. I don't know exactly how long it took, but 8 hours is kind of a rough number. I don't mean to badmouth QGIS, which is fine software. It's excellent software, but it's not parallel. So running stuff like this will take it significantly longer than parallel software like Manifold. Same goes for ArcGIS and MapInfo and all those other packages, which are not parallel either. If we want to see what this looks like in context, let me create some of this from the beginning, from the get-go. Let's put all this into a map. And to do that, I'm going to create a map. And what a map is, it's kind of like a window frame. When you open up a map, it's blank for starters. And you can add layers to the map. And the first layer I'll add is a background layer. And I'm going to create, actually I'll do it from here, File, Create, New Favorite Data Source. I'll use Bing Map Street Map. And this is a data source that's provided to us by Microsoft. We're actually downloading this from Microsoft on the fly with tiles. And this is the same, this is the Bing Map server. And let's drag and drop the 300 points drawing into there so we can see where it is. There's 300 points. Let's format these so they're a little bit cooler looking. For style, let's make those points, let's make about 4 points in size. Let's use a bright blue color. There. And let's toss the triangulation layer in as well, so we can see how fast Manifold pans and zooms the triangulation layer. That's a triangulation layer. Let's style this so that there's the triangles use areas use a transparent background color, and let's, instead of using black, let's use that color purple, and we'll put the points on top of them. that display right there. And as you can see, parallel technology lets Manifold go really, really fast. Manifold Viewer or Manifold System Release 9, as fast as you can pan it. It's instantaneous. And what's really cool about this is when you see what's going on here in the map. If we take a look at the component panel, we can see that the map itself is in pseudo-Mercator projection. That's the same projection that the Bing Street Maps layer uses. But the triangulation layer is in latitude and longitude, and the 3 points layer is in latitude and longitude. So whenever we're panning and zooming in this map, in addition to displaying all those points instantaneously and all those lines instantaneously, Manifold is also reprojecting on the fly 600,000 polygons and 300,000 points from latitude and longitude into the display used by the map. And I'm going to undock that window so we can see the difference between the two displays. If you zoom to fit here, let's move this 300 points, K points above, you can see this is what a latitude and longitude display looks like. We're looking at the same data in two different projections at the same time. Here it is in latitude and longer, so there's characteristic widening. And here it is seen in pseudo-Mercator as it's reprojected onto the fly into the projection that the map window uses. Manifold can do all that, and Viewer can do all that, and Viewer can do all that for free. So if you like, if you want to try this out, you can visit the Manifold georeference forum. Just click on the forum in the upper navigation bar of the Manifold website, click into the forum, and then search for 300K zip. And that'll be the shapefile that you can download these 300K points, import it into QGIS or import it into MapInfo or ARC or whatever you want to use, and then do a triangulation and see how long it takes. I guarantee it's going to take you longer than 8 seconds. In the case of something like ARC or QGIS, it's going to take you hours, typically 8 to 9 hours. And if you had more points, like 5 million points, there's a 5 million point data set of which this is a subset. The triangulation of 5 million points takes about 3 minutes in a Manifold, and it'll take you days in ARC or Q. If you want to see the computer that we're working with here, we can choose Help About. And as you can see, we're using a very old 8-core processor, this AMD FX. That's about a 5-year-old processor now, and you can buy these on Newegg for about $85. So this is not some sort of fire-breathing Core i9 Extreme or anything like that. It's a very, very old, very inexpensive AMD 8-core processor, but we're using all 8 of those cores simultaneously. It does have CUDA devices, but this particular demo does not use a GPU. It just uses the CPU because it's all this stuff is so fast in parallel CPU, it's not even worth dispatching to GPU. There's 32 gigabytes of RAM and running Windows 10. So it's kind of a typical system. This is not using SSD. It uses a plain ordinary hard disk. It's no big deal. By the way, this button here, Buy Manifold 9, that's the only place you will ever see in Viewer any notion that this is that there's a commercial product available other than Manifold Viewer. Other than that, everything that we're doing here in Viewer, there's no pop-up advertising, none of that stuff. It's free to use in the old-fashioned way for as long as you like, for whatever you like, commercial use, private use, whatever, no problem. Give it away to your friends, publish it on websites, and you can publish data in Manifold or another GIS packages and see it in Viewer with incredible speed. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and goodbye from Manifold Land. Well, that was fun. If you want to see more, visit us at www.manifold.net. As always, Manifold delivers the world's most advanced, highest quality spatial products for GIS and DBMS at a low price that you can afford. Once again, that's manifold.net. See you soon.